Hello, well, here we are. It's the last show before I disappear for 3 weeks. Hope you're well, boys and girls. The excitement is building, it really is. Soon I am hoping to be on a plane going to Australia, although it might be a little bit dicey because the weather is so bad here. I've never known snow to remain. I moved out here to Bracknell in Berkshire in 1992, and I've never known snow lay on the ground for more than a few days. It's been there now almost a week and a half, 2 weeks. Unbelievable. So I'm hoping the plane's going to take off, dear. God. Anyway, I want to go straight on to the emails. I want to clear all the emails today before we go away. Otherwise, they'll be sitting there for a month, all right? So first of all, hello to Marsha. And she says, hope you're well, enjoying the shows as usual. Thank you, Marsha. Don't hear from Marsha very much, but when she writes a comprehensive email. 4 pages worth, dear. This is what we like. I mean, it's almost like I don't even have to go out and read a newspaper now. I can just rely on people like Marsha to send in longer and longer emails. I'm very excited by this email. She says, I wanted to weigh in on the discussion you and Susan, our cat lover, had recently regarding the rudeness we often encounter with people in the service industry. Now, just while we're on that subject, I want to say a big credit, I mean, he doesn't watch the show, to the man, an elderly man, probably about 50 years old, grey hair, who works in the shop that I'm buying my large television from, Lakes in Bracknell. There's a TV shop called Lakes in Bracknell. Don't know what his name is. Man, about a little bit taller than me, grey hair, who assisted me in the purchase of a new telly, which is arriving when I come back from holiday, because I thought I'll have it delivered the day after I get back. What good service! I didn't feel pressurised or pushed. He knew what he was talking about. Treated me with respect as the customer. Very, very impressed with the service from that man in Lakes in Bracknell. Credit where credit's due, dear. Do you know what I mean? I always sit here moaning about the dreadful service in various places. Oh, I tell you what, one other place I've been in this week. Now, you know I'm not keen on this shop, Aldi. Right? Aldi. I went in to buy some bananas. I walked straight over to the fruit and veg section. Aldi in Bracknell, this is. Right? I have never seen, I was disgusted, never seen so much fruit and veg rotting in all my life. I could not believe it. I don't think there was a single bunch of bananas there that didn't have black marks, and some were entirely black. It was disgusting. The blueberries were mouldy. The strawberries, there were mouldy strawberries. Dreadful. Dreadful. I think I went in there and I bought a pint of milk in the end. And once again, I had to queue up at the checkout. There's always a long queue at the checkout. One girl on the checkouts. And I said to her, I said, do you know some of your fruit and veggies going, oh, we're short-staffed. It's disgusting. I just hate that shop, Aldi. I really do. The only reason I go in it, as I said before, is because it's on the way back from the swimming pool. Rotting fruit and veg. It's just outrageous, isn't it? I might even write them a letter. No, why should I upset myself before I go on holiday? No, I won't. I will not write a letter this time. Anyway, back to the email. Marsha says, I recently had such an encounter. This is rude sales stuff, okay? When driving home from work later than usual one night, around 8 p.m. 8 p.m, dear! What are you doing staying out at such late hours, Marsha? In Florida, aren't you worried of alligators crawling down the road after you, dear? You must be very careful. I noticed that the intersection in front of my apartment building was completely blocked off, and there were police cars with flashing lights everywhere. Well, no excitement like that happens here, I'm afraid, Marsha. The most excitement we've had this week is watching a cat chase a squirrel. I mean, all the neighbours came out to watch it. It was so exciting. I noticed this from one traffic light away, so rather than queuing behind the traffic, waiting to be redirected, I took my own detour and approached my apartment complex from the back. Oh, you were going in the back entrance, were you? I like that. I do like that. I completely avoided the intersection, so I had no idea what had actually happened. When I arrived at my apartment, I parked my car in the parking lot and got out to walk along the pathway to my home. As I rounded the corner on foot, I clearly saw the shadow of a man who had been hiding in between mine and my neighbour's apartments as he took 3 steps out. When he saw me, he quickly retreated and hid back into the shadows. Oh, you lucky woman. Do you know, I live in hope that one day I'm going to walk to my house and there will be a man waiting for me behind a tree. Only to jump out. Oh, I've come over a lot now. Oh, you are lucky, Marsha. This was obviously alarming. I'm sorry, I'm feeling very mischievous. This was obviously alarming, and I considered walking back to my car, but decided against it. I would have done as well, Marsha. I would have decided against it. I would have stood there and waited to see what was going to happen, dear. When I walked up the stairs to my apartment, I did so backwards. You walked back. Have you become a crab, dear? Why are you walking backwards? That's not normal. I walked backwards, thinking if this guy's about to rush me to get into my apartment, I want to see him coming. Well, he didn't. Well, I would have gone straight to the front door and left it open, dear. In fact, I did that for weeks on end. No one came in. Most disappointing. I got into my apartment and started thinking, why else does someone hide in the bushes that way? And I'm sorry. Oh, Marsha. Oh, this has just excited me no end, this letter, dear. It really has. I dream that one day I'll be walking past some bushes and someone will jump on me. I really do dream of that day. Terrible thing to say, isn't it, dear? Really is. I got into my apartment and started thinking, why else does someone hide in the bushes this way? Do you know, this sounds like a place I used to go down in Brighton. There were bushes down there. And what were all those policemen doing outside the complex? Is it possible that instead of a car accident, like I assumed, that there had actually been a crime? And the police were actually looking for someone who was right now hiding in between the bushes outside my apartment. Do you know, I wish I'd read this before I started reading it. I could have done 4 shows out of this, Marsha. I spent a few minutes wondering if I should call 911 emergency. I really wasn't sure if it was appropriate. I mean, the guy could have just been sneaking in a cigarette or making a phone call and not want his family to know. But if I opened the newspaper tomorrow and found a murderer got away by hiding in an apartment complex, I would feel terrible knowing a simple phone call from me could have prevented his escape. So I decided to call 911, and when I did, the operator approached me with such a nasty, venomous attitude that I regretted it instantly. Now, you don't need that, do you? You don't need an emergency operator giving you grief, do you? You really don't. I said, I need to report something. I live in this apartment complex and there are a lot of policemen in the main intersection outside. As I came into my apartment a moment ago, she cut me off. Is this an emergency? She asked in a rude and abrupt tone of voice. I said no, but she cut me off again, this time with a sarcastic laugh. I'm kind of busy here, she said. Oh, I can't believe this. So I said, can you just hear me out? And then I explained the situation and said, I knew you were busy, of course. Of course you are busy. You are 911. I do not call 911 every day. I was concerned because there are police everywhere and there is a man hiding in the bushes outside my apartment. She cut me off again and said, I don't need to hear that. I don't need to hear that you don't call every day. So I said, Well, you are giving me a nasty attitude and I am explaining why it's not necessary. She said, well, I have people calling me with suicide, she says, and massive car accidents. And I said, well, I have policemen everywhere and a man hiding outside my apartment and I am trying to be helpful. You don't need to be so rude. She just continued, I have the entire country to deal with, etc., etc. What a rude woman. This is awful. Marsha goes on to say, I wish I could accurately convey the spiteful, nasty tone in her voice. She was talking to me, although I was a very stupid person who called to report my cat got stuck up a tree when actually she knew the call was perfectly valid. I could not say for sure that this man was a threat, but given the circumstances, she knew full well that the possibility alone made the call worthwhile. I repeated my address and said, that is the location I gave you in the first place. Oh, sorry, I've jumped a line there. We went on for this for a short while longer, and finally, just as I was about to hang up, she says, ma'am, with more attitude, can you just tell me where you are so I can check it out? I repeated my address and said that is the location I gave you in the first place, and if you weren't giving me such a nasty attitude, you might have actually heard it, and then I hung up. Now I knew that it was highly unlikely that my call was going to lead the police to a serial killer on the run. I knew it was much more likely that it was just a guy whose family doesn't know he's outside smoking or making a secret phone call, rather than a guy who's just committed a terrible crime and planned to use their apartment complex to evade the police. I knew all of this, but I thought, can you imagine the small chance that I should open the newspaper tomorrow morning and find that a violent criminal was on the loose last night? That the police in the intersection outside my complex were looking for him, and worse, he actually got away. I would have felt very much at fault for not even bothering to make a short 30-second phone call to figure it out. Now, just recently here in Florida, a man shot and killed 4 of his family members where they slept. It was during a Thanksgiving, and he ran away as soon as he finished shooting as many people as he could, including a pregnant woman. He disappeared for over a month, and the police just caught him yesterday because someone, probably just like me, said to themselves, was that guy? Should I call the police? Am I right about this? That person did call, and the tip led to the man's arrest earlier this week. It would have taken that operator 30 seconds to call the local police department and ask, is there a manhunt going on in this area right now? If not, it would have cost her about a minute total and no harm would have been done. Well, it turns out, for all of her rudeness and all of her nasty attitude, she knew full well this was why I was calling. 2 minutes after I hung up on her, she called back. She said she did call the local police and they were not looking for anyone. It was actually just a car accident. I do not believe that she would have taken the extra step of calling the local police to check my phone had, in fact, truly been a complete waste of time. I think Susan is right when she discussed her approach to dealing with these types of people. She is not suggesting that you treat every single service person in this way just because you can. She is saying that when someone approaches you with rudeness and attitude, you should let them know that it's not acceptable. I must say, I do not always have the best, most assertive response to these kinds of situations. Maybe that will take more practice. Like I heard you discuss once before, when I was younger, I was much more in your face. As I get older, I find I consider other people's feelings a lot more, which sometimes makes me hesitate before jumping down a person's throat, even before they deserve it. Yeah, I'm like that. I don't think I jump down people's throats at all. My friend Ronnie, he absolutely jumps down people's throats. He really does. On the other hand, I sometimes think he looks for it. I really do. He's constantly stressing out about things and screaming down the phone at various companies and organisations. And I'm just not like that at all. One thing I can't stand is real rudeness. I was DJing Saturday night. Here's an example, okay? Here's an example. I was DJing Saturday night in Belushi's. One of the girls came up to me. Don't know who she was, never seen her before. This is the sort of thing a DJ puts up with, right? So I'd played a couple of records and playing another record now. And this girl came up to me. She says, do you have a playlist? In an abrupt voice. I said, no, there's no playlist. Well, how do you know what to put on? I said, that's what I do. She said, well, the last two records you put on were really good. This one's S-H-I-T. I said, right. You going to put something else on then? I said, well, I'm afraid you've opened the conversation in the wrong way. What do you mean? I said, you've sat there and you've moaned and something. I'm afraid what happens usually when people talk to me like that is a wall comes up. And the wall's now up. So go away. And off she went. Never saw her again. You know, there are just ways of talking to people. If she had come up and said, can I have a request, please? Yes, what would you like? Could I have, I don't know, Lady Gaga, Poker Face, or whatever, you know, Kylie Minogue, whatever. I would have said, yeah, let me have a look. Yeah, I've got that. I'll put it on for you in a second. Okay, thank you. She would have gone up. But no, she had to come up and say, this record's S-H-I-T. You just don't need to do it. And often, people will come up while I'm DJing and say, have you got something that we all like? And I'll point and say, yes, I think they like this one actually. Well, no, they don't. I said, can you see everyone's dancing? I said, that's what I do. Now go away. I just tell them, go away. I haven't got the time or patience to deal with someone. And it is, I'm sorry, ladies, the girls are absolutely the worst. There's no choice in it. The young girls, ladies, if you're over 30, you're out of the equation here, okay? I'm talking about the 18 to 28-year-olds. They are the worst aggressive complainants. They are just awful. The way they come up and make their comments. What's all that about? If you don't like it, sit down or go somewhere else. It's dreadful. The boys, never, ever a problem. Never. The straight boys in Belushi's, never, ever a problem. They might come up and say, you got any drum and bass, mate? And I say, no, I don't do drum and bass. OK, mate, what do you do then? I say, I do chart stuff, very commercial stuff. All right, mate, we'll come back. Thanks a lot. And off they go. A girl will come up, have you got any drum and bass? No, I haven't. Why haven't you got any? You're supposed to. And it's all like that. And I just don't need to hear it. Unfortunately, when I'm out, most of them don't realise I'm gay, right? So they will come up, and some of them use the, how can you put it, the sexual side of things to try and get themselves a request. And that, honestly, I'm not lying to you, they make all sorts of suggestions, dear, to try and get a record on. And of course it doesn't work with me, does it? There was one guy, and the boys, and the funny thing is, the boys, they're always on your side. There was a young lad and his girlfriend there, and the girlfriend come up. This is a few weeks ago, I might have mentioned it. And she said to me, oh, what was it she said to me now? I'm just trying to think now. Will you turn this off? This is really... And she swore again. This is really S-H-I-T. Will you turn this off? And the boy's listening to me, he's looking at me, waiting for my response. I said, thanks for the advice, and no. And the boy just collapsed on the floor laughing. And the girl then turned on the boyfriend and had a go at him for laughing. I haven't got the time of day for these people. There's no need for rudeness. I'm not rude when I go into a shop. Unless they are rude to me. And then I'll give it back. Marsha goes on to say, when I was younger, I was so fierce. Oh, I expect you were, Marsha. I'd like to have seen that, darling. All right? When I was younger, I was so fierce that people learned very quickly that they couldn't even look at me funny without getting a mouthful. Of course, this made it difficult to make and keep friends. I should think it did. Then I went for a phase where everyone I met just loved me. But this was only because I was always so agreeable, and I started to notice people would try things they would never have tried before. Oh, what are you talking about there, Marsha? She says, the hardest thing I've found as an adult is finding the perfect balance between the two extremes. Being amiable upon the first approaching people, but always making sure you are shown the proper respect by bouncing back assertively whenever someone crosses your line. I agree with that as well. You know, there have been times where, like the occasions I've just said before, and I've come back with someone and, you know, I said, well, if you don't, you know, sort of that, we'll go away. Oh, why do you want me to go away? I said, you stood there, you was rude, you shouted at me, you sweared. I don't want to talk to you. Not interested. Oh, well, I didn't really mean that. And do you know, as the night's gone on, a person like who started out having a row, by the end of the night has shaken my hand and gone. But only because I've stood up. You can't let these people get away with it all the time. It's wrong, isn't it? Just stand there and listen. And you know what? When I'm in a shop, if the salesman is off with me, I don't buy anything in there. I go elsewhere. Is it the only thing that they understand when you hit them in the pocket? God, I know enough people like that. Whose only aim in life is to make an enormous sum of money. That's their only goal in life. Sad, lonely, pathetic people. Just interested in profit. And the sad thing of it is, and I've said this many times before, is that as they reach their goal, they increase it. And they can never, ever satisfy their hunger for more profit. Sad, isn't it? Marsha says, if only I had all the answers. Well, I don't either. Well, it's getting late here, so bye for now. Would love to know what others think, and that's from Marsha, yeah. Now, I'd love to know what you think, but because I'm going on holiday for 3 weeks, any emails that you send in now won't come up for about a month, okay? But if you want to send them through, please feel free to do so. My email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Got to say hello to someone new here. We've got a couple of new people joining us actually this week. Where are we? 2 here. There we are. First of all, Jennifer, who listens to the show via Live 365. Hello, Chris. Hi, my name is Jennifer. I live in Hollywood, Florida. Oh, my favourite American. I love Florida. Oh, you'll be having the lightning storms in June. I love watching the lightning storms. I was bumping around on Live 365 and came across your talk show. I must say I'm addicted to your show. It is a bit of an addiction. You can't miss an episode, Jennifer. It's like a soap opera, dear. You could miss something very important, love. During my workday, I get so many interruptions, I listen to the half-hour show all day. By the end of my 8-hour shift, I finally get to hear the whole show just in bits and pieces. Oh, what job do you do, Jennifer? Do let us know. I'm trying to get on the schedule so I can catch you live. With the time differences, I get so confused. Anyway, you seem like a happy guy to hang around with and just love to hear you talk. Talk about, well, whatever. I'm learning your friends here in the US, Suko in New York, the guy in Chicago, the lady in the wheelchair in Minnesota, and somebody in California. That'd be Lisa. Maybe one day I might be one of your friends. Well, cheerio from Jennifer. Jennifer, you are already one of my friends, darling. Keep an email coming in, one every couple of weeks, telling us what you're doing. We need to know more about you, Jennifer, so you can join our happy little family. What do you do? Have you got family? Pets? What's it like where you live? You know the sort of thing. Do you belong to any clubs? Do you do any activities? Do you go to church? We want to know, Jennifer. Thank you very much, darling. Well, the live show, of course, also won't be on for 3 weeks. I might try and do something from Australia, but I can't promise. But when I come back, now the live show is on Monday at 6 p.m. at the moment, okay? That is 1 p.m. in Florida, okay? So if it's 6 p.m. UK time, that will be 1 p.m. in Florida. And another chap here, Guy, hello Guy, who writes about Australia, where I'm off to later today, actually. It's a Thursday for me today. I just love Australia. I'm writing to you from Miami, another one in Florida, USA. Another one listening on the internet at Live 365. And I've got to say, I feel like I'm in London because it's cold and rainy and nasty today. But I guess I'm listening to you live. Oh, no, not on Live 365. The show isn't live on Live 365. If you want to watch the... Well, as I say, you can't watch the live show at the moment because I'm away for 3 weeks. Go to... let's think, the main United Kingdom Talk website, unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, and you'll find bits more information on that, all right? He says, don't go to Hungry Jack's. It's basically just like a Burger King. Yuck. No, I love it. Hungry Jack's is fantastic. How can you say that? You could have an Aussie burger with the beetroot in it. I recommend finding a restaurant that serves kangaroo. Oh, I'd be jumping around all over the place. You never get it in your mouth, dear. But I never did go to Canberra, and I can't remember any restaurants in Sydney that may serve kangaroo. Newton is a suburb just south of the university that has a bunch of restaurants. Bill Bryson said that the restaurant scene in Canberra is miserable, so good luck. Yeah, but it's my family I'm going to see there. I'm not worried about restaurants. I'm quite happy with a Hungry Jack's or a Subway. I had kangaroo in Mululaba. That's a name, isn't it? And I had teriyaki kangaroo in a Japanese restaurant in Cairns. And both times the meat was just fantastic. And that's from Guy, who's in Miami. Thank you, Guy. Welcome to the show, Guy. All right. Quick one here from Robert in Iceland. Dear Chris, from your dear friends in Iceland, we wish you a safe and happy trip to Australia. May the journey be sweet and the knowledge gained from adventure be the smile that never fades. What a nice letter. Thank you, Robert. Where are we here? Let me see. Oh, from Linda. Hello, Linda, who says, I'm fascinated by your previous YouTube show on the 31st of December that you don't wear underpants, darling. This is okay if you change your trousers often lots. Lynn, I am constantly changing my trousers, not due to accidents, may I add. I just like to be clean. Yeah, isn't it wonderful to be clean, dear? Last email then from our friend Millie in Minnesota regarding the possibility of adding another live show, which I intend to do when I come back in February, and dropping one or two recorded ones. I personally wouldn't like to see you drop more than one recorded show if you drop any at all. Although it's not an issue for me, there might be some listeners or viewers who may not be able to tune into the live show for whatever reason. If you did have a live one at another time and recorded, it may be the only way of connecting you. Just my 2 cents. So thanks for that, Millie. Yeah, what we could do is record the live show and put that up a podcast. That's a thought as well. Anyway, that's it. Thank you very, very much for your emails. And as I say, that's it. The next recorded show will be here at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk on Tuesday, February the 10th. Tuesday, February the 10th. I'm sure that's the date, okay? Time for me to go. Thank you very much for watching. See you in February. From myself, Chris Reardon. Bye-bye now.